Diolch, Diprwy Llywydd, and from the outset I'd like to thank the Chair, fellow committee members and the clerks in particular for their work in putting this together, and I'd also like to thank those who gave evidence from both sides of the debate as well. Now, I imagine the Chamber clerks had put me down to speak on this debate today before I even indicated that I wanted to speak, so it's of no doubt no surprise that I'm on my feet now. And one of the first visits I made when I was elected to the Senedd was to Greyhound Rescue Wales, a charity I was already a member of prior to being elected. Now, whilst I had been on the fence when it came to racing prior to that visit, though admittedly I was leaning towards the side who wanted to bring it to an end, the visit itself made me think further about the topic. And since that visit almost 2 years ago, although it only feels like yesterday, I've continued to ask questions of the Minister in both committee and plenary, held multiple events alongside Jane Dodds in the Senedd to raise awareness around the welfare of greyhounds. I'll be clear, I support the petition wholeheartedly, but I also do support it in acknowledgement that this is a difficult debate for many. Nawr, fe fydd aelodau yn dadlau o blaid ac yn erbyn y...
Now members will argue for and against what's included in the petition, but I will seek to focus on a particular point. As was noted as the committee chair, greyhound racing is not regulated here in Wales, so naturally for some this argument should begin and end with the regulation of the sport. But we only need to look over the border to see what regulation looks like. Regulation doesn't resolve the issue which is at the heart of the industry, and we can't safeguard dogs from the inherent risk of racing. Figures from the regulated sector itself show that over 2,000 greyhounds have died or have been put to sleep, and that there were over nearly 18,000 injuries in greyhound racing between 2008 and 2021. The regulated sector offers £400 to pay the costs of retired dogs, but in many cases this is insufficient to pay for the real cost of re-establishing and rehoming racing greyhounds. For example, data from the Dogs Trust on veterinary costs to treat 14 injured greyhounds between November 2018 and April 2021 shows that veterinary treatment alone had varied from £690 to £4,800 for every dog. Even if we had the ability to ensure that every racing greyhound in Wales had a good life, with these figures it will be very difficult to ensure that that is the case. It's also important to note that the industry crosses 5 different niches with different regulatory provisions, and that 85% of racing greyhounds in the UK come from Ireland, so the ability to safeguard dogs from cradle to grave is very, very difficult, almost impossible. In focusing on Wales, the evidence provided by the track owner in Wales suggests that the track is no more dangerous than any other tracks, and that there are improvements in place to make it a GBGB licensed track, which would improve safety. But in doing that, the intention would be to increase the amount of racing in Wales. Even with an improvement in safety levels, it's likely that an increase in the number of races would lead to an increase in the number of dogs injured. Diprwy Llywydd, as I participated in this inquiry and as I made some further research, it was impossible for me not to come to the decision other than to prioritise the well-being of the dogs. I can't support any event that puts dogs at risk of injury, and that's why I'm supporting the petition and hope that the government will take action in this area.